Welcome back to the channel, brothers and sisters. So this video is titled the Hooded Figure. Well, the Hooded Figure is, alongside having Hatman experiences, I've also had this one, the Hooded Figure experience. The Hooded Figure one is almost something like this, but you don't see anything here, it's just black. It's just black. And I've had people in recent years take the mick out of that, whereas it's actually a proper entity. Just people want to take the piss, which is fair enough. But when you've experienced these, especially the Hooded Figure, I'll always call it the Hooded Figure because that's what I called it when I first encountered it. My first experience with it was to speak to get help about it. It was a hooded figure, not like a monk because it was quite tall. And sometimes you would see features. The features that you would see would be like, sometimes it would have a stick, sometimes it wouldn't. That's pretty much. Sometimes you would see the eye, like you would see eyes, but there would be black, like there was no colour. It's not like the Hatman, because for a lot of people the Hatman doesn't have features. Well, he has two different coloured eyes. And then you've got the Hooded Figure, which is what I'm talking about at the moment. The Hooded Figure one. The Hooded Figure, I later found out that it's actually a druid energy because of the island that we stay on. And I've also linked it up with some of the supernatural stuff that happens over in Appalachia, because there's parts of the UK that are just as old as Appalachia, and they're the oldest parts. They're the oldest parts on like on Earth. Like, you can sort of get why weird and wonderful things will happen, because the land because at one point a long time ago, all the land was one big landmass. Weird, like obviously impacts and other things caused it to separate. That's the Earth's history in a nutshell too, because it's all tied in. So like, we stay on an island that's really old, along with, and then it's like some of the stories that you hear about Appalachia sort of like can coincide with like some of the myths and folklore of Scotland and Ireland as well. Like the Banshee, the Fairy, the Gnomes, the Goblins. Like they all come, like Appalachia have a similar thing, but they're named differently. And that was quite weird, that. I hope that camera got that. That was almost like that was weird. It's like the sky just weird. Weird. So just want the light to shine. That's not light. Just why shine? So that's the weird things that I come across up in the woodland, because it's just up there. It's just further up there. I'm not going really up there. I don't really like going up to it, because the way the trees are positioned, it's like old symbols. I have had someone been walking in here before I was coming on camera, not today but another day. They're like, why don't you take it down and stuff? And I was like, well, why does no one else take it down? Why does it have to, like, why are you asking me to do it? Like, I I just came out for a walk and just doing what I'm doing now, and I came across it, and it's tickled my curiosity because that sort of ties in with the woodland. And then that day, I'll never forget the day because I was walking down on a lower trail. No, I didn't come fully up into this area of the woodland. That was later. I later did that at night time, and then I ended up coming back in during the day because all these videos are tied up because I was speaking my mind like some of the videos have no, but they sort of like come outside and just see what I want to talk about. Like today, like I'm talking about ghost stories, like because they're tied in with the theme of like the meaning of life. Like part of my life is like having to speak about like, well, I had to speak about the Hat Man because I've had personal experience, and then speaking about the hooded figure. I have to, because it's like, it's not that long ago I had an experience, like it was 3 years ago I had an experience with the hooded figure as well. So I had the hooded figure and then I also had the Hat Man as well. In the same year but separate, at separate times, and I've had it in separate, in the years where they've been together. It's broad daylight, but because of what I'm talking about, I always feel like my eyes are playing tricks on me. So there's kids over there on bikes, but I'm like coming over here and I'm seeing something on the pathway up ahead. Because we're coming into the area where I've had weird things happen. So there's a lower trail down there that takes you past the cottage and all that. Well, like so the hooded figure is the Druid. My dad used to call it the monk, the evil monk. Could have been like it was sort of like, I don't know. It's weird. But as I've got older, like I've realised that it's Druid energy. Old and ancient. But as I've got older, it sort of keeps its distance. It sort of it follows if I'm doing something like coming into these woods. It's like if you've like I've not just done it on my own. I've been in woodlands and been places, and like I've had people with me and they're like, what the fuck is that? It's like, well, welcome to the craziness of the hooded figure, because it just appears. And that's a weird one, because it wasn't like the Hat Man where it like scratched at the window or knocked on the window or knocked a door or anything like that. This like hooded figure just appears. And off and on I've always had that like, it's always been sort of like a weird welcome, and that's how I knew it wasn't. And my dad used to call it a monk, and then as I got older I was meeting people that were spiritually switched on, and I was like, oh, I've got this Druid that follows me, and then they would do a clairvoyance reading and come back you're being watched by Druid energy. Always have been. Or was it they say spiritually guarded and spiritually guided by Druid energy, which is why I say it for what it is. Well, this is like, people will be like, oh, you're just making this up, and I'm like, no, I'm not actually. Like, This is another part of me that I dare really speak about for good reason. But this is encountering the druid energy and stuff. Because bear in mind, I've already got my, like, I'm spiritually guided and protected by a druid. And then when you come across this random other druid energy, it's like, because it was sort of like, the way it was like, it was friendly, but wasn't, because it was more like, like, no experience, like, no, because it's, like, it was the same the last time I was there, because I'll probably end up going on one of these videos, because I've came out with a lot of recording devices. I'm still using the first one. Because I want to talk about, like, the hooded figure, because it's not a hooded figure, it's a druid. I'm protected and spiritually guided more. At one point when I was younger I was protected, but I've got my own spiritual protection. I don't need to be. I've learned what works for me. I'll pass it on because it works, especially if you're dealing with weird energy, because these are going to be, this will be a 4-part series, so this is like part 2. Part 3 is going to be about something else, and then the 4th one will tie up why, like, I've had all these experiences, because I have touched on it in a couple of other videos with the near-death experience, being taken out by a car. I'll talk about the very, well, I haven't just had near-death experiences, I've also crossed over as well. I've also heart stopped and came back. And that's how I can see things that others can't. I've met people that can see what I see, but then when they actually start looking, like, they actually can only see outlines, whereas I can see right through the veil. I can see right through. So when you can see spiritually through the veil, like, you can see between the living and the dead, because I can ask the dead for help if I really want to. I don't tend to, but I can. It sounds a bit like weirdness, but I have done it. Just there's repercussions for doing it. I can't use it for any gain. I can't gain from it. Like, if I'm helping someone, then that's a different ballpark altogether. And I'll be able to suss, like, I've had, like, people try to suss me out and stuff, and I'm like, nah, yeah, you're fine, you don't need help. And they're like, how do you know? It's like, because I can tell. Like, you're trying to set me up, but, like, I've had people being sent by whatever and whoever to try and, like, see if this guy's, like, for real or not. And then it's like, they later come back and they go, I was like, no, like, your intentions weren't there, you didn't need help. If anything, you were needing help from the people that were sending you to try and discredit it and stuff. I've had people try to discredit me, it's all good. It's all part of it. Like, the best of it is like, I have a saying, like, I can talk about it. I'm in the woods, I'm absolutely loving life. I can also talk about this while having a couple of beers. I can also talk about this while having a chill smoke with someone. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it really doesn't matter. I will talk about this because it's happened. And that's where people try to say, oh, you're making it up. No. No. If you want to know something, I'm a great believer in be careful what you wish for, but this is one thing I wish I never had happen. Because it's always there. It never disappears. The memories are the main one. And the memories also become night terrors, because when this hooded figure started, its first impression was, that's when I knew it wasn't It wasn't evil, but it wasn't good at the same time. Like it sort of teeters, but it's like a bit similar to the Hat Man. Like they're not evil, but at the same time they're not good. But they're not pure evil though. I've tried a thing to thingy them, and that's how I know they're not pure evil. I've tried. I've tried. Doesn't work. If anything, it backfired. Hence the day after I had a near-death experience, because they're not pure. They're just something old and ancient. I don't know how the Hat Man's more of a recent thing. It's ever since I don't always call this like from the tests and stuff, because I'm distracting myself from like what's happening. I can sense what's happening, not just here. Can also sense things that are happening in other because of the way line energy and tectonic plate energy and stuff. Like I sense it. I'm switched on. Like I can feel it. Like I said, it's like in my last video upload, it was like there might be a couple of prophecies along the way while I'm doing these videos. It is what it is. Like I'm switched on, Like I'm out there, and I don't really care. Because when I look back on some of the videos, I'm like, oh, and I'm like, well, like it's me. Like I'm spiritually switched on. If you want me to start talking about spiritual stuff, doesn't matter. Like I can be out in the woodlands, I can be sitting. I'm more comfortable being outside talking about it than I am sitting in the house. I'd rather be outside, like outside. I would rather be outside talking about it. Cause I'm a great believer in don't draw the attention of like these kind of energies to the place where you're at, where you sleep and chill and stuff. Like that's your sanctuary. You've got to treat that as your sanctuary. Outside is where I prefer to talk about this sort of thing. Hence why I come outside. Doesn't matter what time of day it is. And that's how in some of the nighttime videos there has been a couple of things that make I can see them because they're very good at making out that like that's a shadow of something. That's like no, just wait until it moves, and then it's like, oh, you're telling me that. Like, a lot of people out here. I'm at the best clearing. Just going to walk by this way. I wondered why I came to this bit, and I'm like, oh, the trees, because it's a really old tree. Hey, anyway, we'll go along here, talk about the hooded figure. That's the one that appears in, like I've had it appear in, like before mobile phones we used to have like digital cameras and stuff. And there's been a couple of times like my dad used to take pictures and stuff when we were on holidays and day trips and just being away, like if we had nothing on, we would just go for a random trip somewhere. We would take digital pictures and stuff, and there's been a few times where like the digital cameras picked up on like the hooded figure, and you can like I've seen it just even there now. I've actually seen that, and then knew it seen me, or I seen it. So it wasn't the guy with the dog, because the guy with the dog walked over that way. This is way up. This is way up in there. So we're going to go up. So it's that time. That you can't see on that pathway further up. wee squirrels are having a good old time. Anyway, we'll keep walking. We'll walk this way now. It doesn't matter what time of day it is. I'm speaking, it's like I know it's not a person, because it was about here, and then when I stepped back, because I knew I'm getting the goose pimples. I know what I seen looking up there. So it was just right through the bits there. So there's sort of like a tree. It moved between the tree, and then it moved right in. It's not the first time I've seen it here. If I never had, there's a reason why I came out with a jumper on, because I knew I was going to come into late evening, and I'm going to get the funny feeling. I had a funny feeling. Because I like talking about the hooded figure. I know what kind of energy it is, and I mean, it's like when I'm outside in these areas. I've got a whole series of videos where, like, I even started watching one. Even now, right through there. And we're going to go up. Pay attention to things in the background as well. When like what I'm talking about, like it's real. Like I'm not making this up. Like I already gave a warning that the hooded figure video would be a long one. It might be a two-parter, because I'm seeing things up here. Because the last time I was properly in here, I seen it was up at the weird, and it's walking up in the direction to the trees, and I'm not going up because I've not got a light, and it's at the time of year where the light is starting to draw in, which is a bit, yeah, I've got to keep this out to remind me, like, there's a possibility that just pay attention to the background. That's all I can say about it, especially when I'm talking about this hooded cloak, because I've had it my whole life. I've had the hooded cloak person. My gran was still alive when I had my first experience, because it was her that I spoke to about it. And I also spoke to my auntie before she moved off to Canada, or wherever she is now. Well, the one in Canada anyway. Aye. Pretty nuts. Pretty barking mad. Way over in she was over in Canada, which is awesome. I remember, because my gran was still alive. It was the last proper conversation I had with my gran. It was the last time I seen that particular auntie, because she was the oldest. She was older than my dad, so there was a bit more wisdom. It's just because I got told to respect my elders, so like, anyway, I'm looking around here because, so this is so I was down, to get into context, it's down there. The where I seen this was up here, not on this pathway, it's up around here, but heading over to where, because over in that direction is where the trees are that are in a weird position. Basically, someone's invoked I did have a stupid comment in my comment section with that. Like, I'm not doing any of that. Because it's the very first videos is where I come in and it's like all the, like it's this area, like there's bits of this where it's impassable. Why? Because I've already been up there and tried. Because you can hear all the animals, all the wee birds and whereas there was a wee bit of that, there was a wee bit of the trail bit where there was nothing. Pretty awesome. So this is where the, it's up here. Just keeping my eyes peeled. I've got another recording device I might pull out to see if it's because this is all part of the hooded figure, because I've seen it down there. Because it was a black shape, a black silhouette with a hood walking through, and not like I wear a hoodie when it's cool. It was like a jumper hoodie. It's nothing like that. Like this is like a black shade. Like if you this is something, if you know, you know. Like if you've seen a black shade, like you know what I'm on about. Just this time I've seen it come through the woodland, and I've caught it on camera a few times as well. That's why I'm saying this, like pay attention behind, because you just never know. Especially when I'm talking about it, my own experiences, it tends to show itself. But then, if you have these experiences out in the woods and stuff, stand before you go into the woodland and say, whatever's on the pathway ahead has no right to follow. It doesn't have consent to follow. You can say right or consent. I use consent, so it's like before I came in, I'm at one with the light's at one with me. Nothing has consent to follow, hence why it's off in the distance. But when it gets to a particular time, it's when it's like, well, you're in my time. Because it's always like I like to come out at this time of day. Just before, it's just getting dusk. It's a very powerful time. Especially for dealing with the type of energy, like the druid energy as well. Because it was like when I was younger, it was just a hooded figure. But as I got older, did a bit more research on that than I did with the Hat Man and a few others, hence why this is a longer video. Because this will be a longer video, because it's more extensive. Because I've been to other areas where I've been to places that seems to amplify it, and this is like an area that sort of amplifies it, which is pretty awesome. It's came at the right time in life, actually. Because when I was younger, I've had a couple of experiences, and I've not had because I sometimes come out and I don't even record. I just have that like there could be something worth talking about, or there might be something that just randomly appears behind me in the woods and stuff. Because you just never know, especially with this type of energy. You just never know. There's been a couple of times I've reviewed a day one, and it looks like someone's standing behind a tree, and it's not. And it's like because this is because I'm talking about this kind of energy. I could be just doing something random. I remember coming up here during the day. I ended up going off and following something. I even say it. It's like, and then I end up talking shite to distract for what's going on up there. Because up there's like a dude, like it's time. Get out. like you've been dealing with this kind of energy your whole life. You do want to be following something else. Like I've got my own, like I call it my own druid, my own druid protector. Down here it seems to be like I don't really. It's like it's followed me from wherever. Like I know where it followed me from. And I've had a video where I went and it's from that area, and aye, because I don't stay around in this area, so it's like aye, it's quite good too. But it's the figures that I see down here are down here, like because like I said, I don't stay here. So there's that. I'm wondering why it doesn't even feel like it. It's like I've been out for 4 hours. It's been raining and everything, and it's just turned into a beautiful clear evening. Part of me, I didn't bring the torchlight. Anyway, that's the hooded figure. Just remember with the hooded figure, you do need to have spiritual protection around your house. You need to look at what you're drawn to. Then you feel, if you feel safe, you don't want to overclutter. Like I've got a couple of objects, like I've said, I've had them for a very long time, and I've had people touch them, and they're like people that can touch, and then they can get visions from touching. I've had a person that did that, and that person was like, whoa, like some of the stuff you talk about, like you downplay it. And I'm like, yep, because they get that like of me being there, like nah, like these experiences that you talk about are real. I'm like, yep. It was the first person I ever spoke about my first encounter with the hooded figure. It was actually that person who was like, you only call it a hooded figure, but it's like, you know what it is, and I was like, yeah, it's Druid. It's been following me my whole life, including on other bits in other places around the world, which is why I believe in what I believe. Because it was like, right, cool, been halfway around the world. Why the heck was there a druid there? I managed to, like, because it can't follow onto a plane and stuff. Because they have spiritual protection they have spiritual barriers and stuff. Especially the long distance ones. You can sense it. If you know, you know. I don't want to creep people out. There's a reason why. Like the big long transatlantic flights are safe. They're safe for a reason. They have spiritual barriers on them and stuff. I sensed it when I was on it. It's not nothing bad. Just there's a reason for it. Because like if you have spiritual attachments and stuff, you don't want it. And they do. Some of these, the transatlantic planes, they do have spiritual barriers on them. And for good reason. I heard weird things happening up in that woodland up there. I've got another recording device ready to come out. So you might be seeing this one, and then there'll be another video that's like, well, actually, it comes into this. Like I said, pay attention to the background as well, because you never know. I'm using a device that sorry. back to the channel, brothers and sisters. On the other video, this is the other video for this one. We're seeing things that are happening up in this woodland, just up here. The camera's trying to focus in on something, just to let you see. Like, there is something up there. I can see it through. This is a bit hard. Bear with me. Welcome back to the channel, brothers and sisters. We're seeing movement off up in the distance. Yeah, sorry about that. So these are this is a two-part. So this is I'm having to do the introduction to the other part. So this is the other video. We're seeing movement up in. I'm talking about a druid energy and the hooded figure. I've got a full video on that. Got this video here, which is the main one. This is a part 2 that I'm also recording at the same time, because there's like weird movement coming in, and this is this camera's like really good. Not that this camera's not bad, just this one's better. Way better. It'll pick up on, because it's right at the right time for picking up on this stuff, because there's been a couple of times I've seen things through that area. Sorry, just extending the ball. Rightio. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to end the long format. Come join me for part 2. I've already seen this is part 2 being recorded. Until then, much love, stay safe. Peace. Oh, it's still recording. I pressed it. It's not meant to be recording. Oh well. Well, we'll keep going. That's how you seen the figure, because on in this long video I do mention it a couple of times, and I've got the other recording device out to make sure that I can try and see if anything picks up on it or not. Probably not, but you never know. Because can look like a shadow in a tree or a stump, and then all of a sudden it just moves. We'll go up to, we're going a bit further up, because this is all part of I knew something would, so there's, because even right now I'm getting the goose pimples. My beard beard's starting to get long again, and it's starting to, like, I can feel it, like if it wanted to stand out, it could. I feel it down at the tip of the beard. Once the hairs are one and they go straight, it's like, like, yeah, I can feel the hairs wanting to stick out. Anyway, plus the dogs around in this area are kicking off as well. It's something that has not heard very often. Rightio, brothers and sisters. For the vertical one, I'm gonna end it here. Much love. Come join me on the horizontal. This is the horizontal one, the vertical one. Come join me on the vertical. Horizontal. I'm going to end it here. Come join me on the next one. Come join me on part 2. Part 2 is in the middle of being recorded. Come join me then. Much love. Peace. Also, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. It helps.